And welcome everyone to a very important episode here on Isles Talk. My name is Paul Kreischer. I am your host for this evening. I am going solo tonight. Uh, Joe and Gary are both busy very suddenly, but I don't need them at this point. So we're good. They'll watch the show in a minute when this is all over. But I wanted to do a show today because obviously we had a lot of signings. We've got Alex DeBrinket. We've got those rumors coming in. I wanted to cover the draft a little bit, but more importantly, I really wanted to cover the free agents, the pending free agents that the Islanders signed. Lou said exactly what he was going to do. He re-signed um, all of the players like he said he would. And we here at ILSOC, we kind of mentioned that they were probably going to resign. We weren't sure about involved, but with the lengths of the contracts and what the contracts were worth, um, still an echo. That's odd. I'll see if I can fix that. Am I good now? Shouldn't be an echo. Give me 1 minute here. Do-do-do-do. Okay, that should work. Are you guys hearing the echo now? Let me know if you're hearing an echo. Either way, um, after the Islanders signed all of the impending unrestricted free agents, Varlamov, Engvall, um, even Sorokin, Mayfield, and I know I'm missing one. Either way, they were all too long for a lot of people. So what I had done was I did something that I normally don't do, and I just normally don't have time for. I actually listened to the Never Say Die podcast. I listened to Coach Baffy's Corner. I also listened to Hockey Night in New York, and they brought up subjects on the term, things could have improved, so on and so forth. And in all honesty, they're not wrong. Um, Hockey Night in New York basically said the cap is going to go up, making these contracts percentages much smaller, which is also correct. So I needed to do a show tonight to figure out what was missing in the arguments. And I'm hoping I have it figured out because at this point, everyone who has commented on the contracts themselves, even people outside of Long Island, um, your hockey analysts from Canada, NHL Network, whatever, everybody was right in their own way. And I wanted to do a show to find out what's missing. And I think I found out. So I'm going to bring you along here real quick. And I'm going to do a big thank you to Cap Friendly because they're going to help me out on this. Now, let's do the easy one first. Ilya Sorokin, 8-year deal, 8.25. That doesn't need to be said. Okay, that's an excellent contract. Go for it, lovely, no big deal. Okay. Semyon Varlamov at 2.75. I'm going to get to Semyon Varlamov in a minute. Scott Mayfield has a never-ending contract at 3.5. Believe it or not, his AAV is actually on par for where he is at the moment. The AAV is actually good. We're going to discuss why, for right now, the length of his term doesn't bother me. Okay, and then we're going to have Pierre Engvall. We're going to take care of him right now. Pierre Engvall, 27 years old, $3 million. Let's just have fun with this for eternity, or better yet, a 7-year deal. Okay, now, what I did is that I looked at Pierre Engvall's last 4 years, the amount of games played, and I looked at his point percentage. Okay. Basically, there was only one other person who basically has the same numbers as he does in terms of games played and points percentage, and he is Nicholas Paul from the Tampa Bay Lightning. And go figure, it's the same length of contract at 3.15. Okay, so if you're wondering where the $3 million came from, there you go. Nicholas Paul, center left wing for the Tampa Bay Lightning, who also has that upside that Pierre Engvall has. Now, the other thing with Pierre Engvall, is that he's still one of the fastest skaters, if not the fastest skater on the Islanders. And we've all seen with Zach Parise what speed can do to your career. As long as Pierre Engvall plays his game, I'm a little more confident of him finishing off that contract than most people may want to believe at the moment. So the contract is good, even that length of term, because of his age and speed. Now, let's get into what really bothers or puzzles everybody. Okay, Scott Mayfield, 7-year deal at 30 years old. Okay, we know the speed really isn't there. We know this. Okay, and I'm not going to tell you guys something you don't already know. Okay, we all know this. Okay, you're not being told anything else different. However, the one thing I started to notice was that him and Varlamov, in particular, Varlamov's last contract is in 26-27. And I was like, why would they sign Scott Mayfield to a 7-year deal? Is he owed that money a little bit? Sure. But do we all think he's going to play that 7 years? No. So what were we missing? So after looking around a little bit, I finally realized the one thing that Lou is notorious for. Folks, the collective bargaining agreement, this current collective bargaining agreement ends in September of 26-27. So before the 26-27 season kicks in, there's no hockey. None. Zilch. And with the cap going up, with more revenue coming in, I've already talked to a couple of friends who are big on the cap, and they love talking about this and whatnot. And I asked them, what's the percentage of there being at least a holdout or a real big struggle with the collective bargaining agreement? They said better than 50%. Right now, granted, we're 3 years away. Okay? We're 3 years away from the collective bargaining agreement ending. But in terms of actually finishing the season, folks, I'm not even worried about Semyon Varlamov's contract anymore. He may not get to play that 4th season. Okay? And again, for Islander fans, you already know this. After a collective bargaining agreement has been struck, they usually allow 1 or 2 buyouts for each team, so that way the team themselves, can get themselves out of cap without any penalties, and then they can start fresh, especially with a higher cap ceiling. Good for ownership, good for the players. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying is right now, and we said this before Scott Mayfield was signed. Scott Mayfield's contract was going to be a personal contract. It was a personal decision. What Lou Lamoriello did, yes, you can still buy him out. On a allowed play with a no movement clause, you can still buy them out. Yes. So, the Islanders, Lou gifted him a present here. This was a personal contract. We said this months ago. Scott Mayfield can play for the next 3 years. Could he be bought out on that 4th year after the collective bargaining agreement? Of course. Do the Islanders save cap? Yes, they do. Does Scott Mayfield really want to play in another 4 years? We'll see what happens. But is Scott Mayfield going to get the money? Absolutely. Ditto with Semyon Varlamov. We said before on Isles Talk many, many times, and this was kind of a no-brainer. If you want Ilya Sorokin to play for the Islanders, you got to bring back Semyon Varlamov. Semyon Varlamov is here for 3-4 years, and I'll tell you right now, boys and girls, 2.75 is still a discount. It's still a discount from where he could have gotten around to other places. Okay? But with the collective bargaining agreement, he's taken him into that final season. But there's enough time in there that Jakub Skar could fill in, Tristan Lennox could fill in, or any other goaltender that Lou decides to sign and back up Varlamov just in case of injuries, because you don't want Sorokin going 60, 70, 80, not 80 games, but 60 or 70 games during the season. You don't want that. So really, all you're asking Semyon Varlamov to do is get through the next year, maybe 2. I think Jakub Skark's going to be ready probably in the middle of this season, as long as he's got a better defense in front of him. But that's another topic for another day. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, am I worried about the contracts? Let's add to this as well. Let's say Pierre Engvall doesn't do anything. Nothing. If the Islanders have 2 buyouts, who do you think they're going to buy out? Okay? Look at the 26-27 season. Brock Nelson, doubtful. Anders Lee, he's already on the restricted free agent. Pageau may not even be on this team. Casey Zizekas has 1 more year. He'll probably stay because of his speed. You're not buying out Pulick. You're not buying out Pelech. Okay? They're all there. So if Engvall and Mayfield can't do it anymore, you can buy them out at the end of the next collective bargaining agreement. And then they're off the books. I don't know if both goalies have the same agent, Brian, but I'll get to that question later. So there you have it, folks. Every Islander personality who has done their shows on these signings, in all honesty, for the next 3 years, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. The question is, will the Islanders allow these players to continue to play with the contracts that they have? Mayfield, in my honest opinion, for right now, very humble opinion, I think Mayfield will be bought out at the collective bargaining. When that collective bargaining agreement is over with, he'll be bought out. I'm not looking at the 7-year deal. I'm looking at it more as a $3 3-year deal. Thank you for being a long-time Islander. Here's your money. You were grossly underpaid before then. We sincerely apologize, but thank you for being a good sport. Thank you for being an Islander. That's how I'm approaching it for right now. I'm a little more confident with Pierre Engvall putting up more than, 30 points or more over the next 7 years. I think he can do it. I think he can average 30 points or more over the next 7 years. As far as Varlamov is concerned, all he has to do is stay healthy. That's all he has to do. So, yeah, and most of these other contracts, it doesn't really matter. Now, some of the other positive sides, shall we say, they were saying the salary cap is going up. So, some of these contracts are going to look like steals. And that's true. That's true. But I'm also going to say this now. I think Lou, again, some things can change because it's still July 5th. But the indication that I'm getting is that the Islanders are on a budget. They're on a spending budget. I was hoping to get this year's total of how much the Islanders made this season By the show, it hasn't happened. It happened, stuff like that happens. Okay. But you guys have to remember, and I said this before, I was gifted with the information that the Islanders lost $70 million in those two COVID seasons when the Islanders were at Nassau Coliseum. Okay. We had all heard Charles Wang saying he lost $20 million when he was running the Islanders during the regular season. And I don't know where I remember reading it, but it was something to the effect of even if Charles Wang had the Islanders in the Stanley Cup Finals, went 7 games and they were home, I think even if the Islanders won the Stanley Cup, the Islanders were still going to lose $1 million at that time. So when the Islanders played those two COVID seasons at Nassau Coliseum, I knew they were going to lose a lot of money, especially with the testing, especially with putting the players in the hotels for that long and so on and so forth. I needed to know, or I asked if the Islanders had lost some money. And yes, they had in fact lost 70 million over those 2 years. Now, I had said this many times before. The Islanders actually made $30 million last season. $30 million last season, first year at UBS Arena. So, and again, I had to address that. That's what I was allowed to know. That's what I was allowed to know. I don't know anything else underneath it. But you have to remember now, with making the playoffs, selling those fisherman jerseys, selling out on Bo Horvat jerseys, whatever, ticket prices going up, I have to assume for now, an educated guess that the Islanders made back more money this year, maybe a little bit more than 30 million. Okay, so maybe the Islanders are only in the hole a couple of $1 million. Okay, but what Lou has done up until the collective bargaining agreement, if you guys look at Cap Friendly, this is this year's cap space at 83 million for now. Again, it's in July. Next season, it's at 82, and again, that can change. You look at year 3. This is the year before. This is the year before the collective bargaining agreement. Okay, $62 million. If we scroll up, who do we have to resign? Noah Dobson, Alexander Romanov, Samuel Bolduc, Brock Nelson. Again, Kyle Palmieri, I doubt it. And we're not sure about Gauchier. He hasn't really played yet. We don't know yet, obviously. And then Hudson Fasching. I'm going to go Hudson Fasching probably gets a signing. But boys and girls, we're looking at maybe around $20 million to get everybody signed again. So you're looking at $82 million. And take my word for it, I already did it before. The Islanders had a salary cap of 79 million, and this past year was about 81 million. So the Islanders are right around the $82 million mark. So for a total of 5 years, we're in the middle of year 3, we're looking at a budget, a spending budget, a salary, an Islanders imposed salary cap of somewhere between 80 and 83 million at most. Okay. And if you take a look, that's next year's right here. I'm hoping that's working. $5 million in cap space next season. Do I see the Islanders spending that much? Probably not. Or is this Tampa Bay? Oh, son of a gun. Let's switch that. Oh, now I feel safe. Okay, so let's do this real quick. 83 million, 82, and 62. It's going to be 80 million probably by year 3. Thank you, guys. But it's all the same here. You're looking at Bolduc, Romanov, and Dobson, along with maybe Brock Nelson coming back, and Hudson Fasching. You're only looking at maybe 20 million to re-sign everybody else. Okay? So the Islanders are almost like on a 5-year budget. of between 80 and 82 million. And in all honesty, I think if they get closer to the playoffs, if they need to make a run, if they need to spend the money, yes, I think they're going to spend the money. When it's time to make a run at the playoffs, yes, I think if they want to go for broke and they want to make a deeper run into the playoffs, yes, I think they're going to be buyers every single year heading in. But Lou literally has this franchise on a budget of 80 to 82 million dollars. We're in year 3 of a year 5. Now, why are the Islanders on a budget? Again, we've said this before, it's on ilestalk.com. Scott Malkin has a couple of little stores he's got to build. He also has a hotel to build. Money has to be diverted elsewhere. So yes, is Lou keeping this team competitive? Absolutely. You still have to sell out UBS Arena. And yeah, I'll put this here for a moment. Team stays just about the same, good enough to make a run. Listen, I don't think this team is worse off than that they were in April. I think this team is better because you don't take a look at a team in April. You got to take a look at the team from where they were a year ago. So is this team different from the team that they were in September? Absolutely. Do I think they're better constructed right now than what they were in last September? Yes. Yes. Now, we have about 5 months, 6 months, Christmas, give or take, to find out where this team really is. So I think with each year heading into the collective bargaining agreement, you're going to see this team be in the mix for a playoff hunt in every offseason. Their names are going to be called in there. Lou will make whatever hockey trades he needs to make to improve the team. But do I think he could be buyer? He could be a buyer at the trade deadline or even in the middle of the season to pull off like a Bo Horvat? Yes, I think he can. I think he has to. Now, what are you going to see over the next 3 years? Well, you guys living on Long Island, you better see a hotel coming up, and you better see that little business district going over at Belmont Park. So for everyone, once you see that construction going up, you can know by that time, you're going to get yourself an all-star game. You're going to get yourself a draft. More money comes in, and guess what? You guys are, the Islanders themselves, they are going to be, they're one of the top dogs now. I'll call them top 10. But Lou has set this team up financially to a point where if everything goes really, really good, you're looking at a top 3 franchise in the NHL at some point from a financial standpoint. Because even if that cap goes up to 100 million, if everything is where Scott Malkin wants it to be, the Islanders will spend up to 100 million. They're just not there yet. So I think what everyone was saying about the contracts was correct for now. But that next collective bargaining agreement can absolutely reshape the salary structure, the salary cap structure for the Islanders. I think it's going to stay or remain at 80 to 82 million for the next 3 years, including this one coming up. And as you guys can see right here, 5 million in cap space. Will Lou utilize it? He might. I don't think there'll be a need to, but there's got to be a trade that wins him over. Look at that cap space. After that, 29 million, 12 players. You're going to re-sign most of them. And in all honesty, guys, by that second year, you're going to have Bridgeport guys coming up. Some of those kids that are in juniors that I've been talking about in the draft, they're going to be ready. Pennies on the dollar. So Lou literally has this whole team set up financially for the next 3 years into the collective bargaining agreement. What Malkin needs to do is get his project done. He gets this project done, folks, you're a top 3 team. You're a top 3 organization in the NHL. And that's why I think Lou has done the contracts that he has done. I think he took care of Scott Mayfield on a personal level. He took care of Semyon Varlamov on a personal level. He honestly gave a similar contract to, that Tampa Bay gave their player. It's a similar contract. But again, you got to remember, Pierre Engvall took that contract. He took a 7-year deal. Pierre Engvall knows what's going to happen here. And he hasn't played that long. That's the other thing. Lou can offer a 7-year deal, but it's another when a player takes it. Pierre Engvall just took a 7-year deal, folks. Bo Horvat took an 8-year deal. These guys, once they're finally here, they're staying. And once Malkin puts in whatever he needs to put in, are the Islanders going to be a desired location? Yeah, but it's almost like you're going to have to be drafted if you want to be an Islander or traded. Whenever these players have their, trade destinations, they better have Long Island on it because it might be difficult to get in. So, were they great hockey moves? Probably not. Again, Sorokin and Engvall, I'm going to say yes. Mayfield and Varlamov, they were personal. We've said that. Joe has said that. Gary has said that. I've said that on the show now for months. Some of you who have been with the show now for forever, you guys know we've been saying that. Those were personal deals. They took care of their own. That's what Lou did. But what Lou has done over the next 3 years, including this one coming up, he's got this team on a budget of roughly 80 to 83 million. So that way Malkin can do what he can do. And then after that, I think every Long Islander should go to UBS Arena and enjoy themselves because I still believe they're going to have some kind of a competitive team every year. Could they be Stanley Cup? Right now, I don't think so, but I think they just need them to be competitive now because all you have to do is get in, folks. Look at the Florida Panthers. All you have to do is get in. Get in, and you have to have the will to win. So I think that was what we were all missing with some of these extended contracts. Like I said, after the collective bargaining agreement has been agreed upon, and we don't even know when that's going to happen, I think that's going to come right down to the wire, in all honesty, because there's going to be a lot of money that's going to be plucked around and whatnot. So, after that's happened, could I see Scott Mayfield getting bought out? I could. Could I see Pierre Engvall getting bought out? I could. I doubt it, though. Semyon Varlamov, could I see him getting bought out of his last year? You could, but, he's really got to be injured in order for me to say no. He's in order for me to say yes, he is going to be bought out. So all of the other New York Islander personalities, in my opinion, they're all right with their own opinion. They're all correct. Yes, the cap is going to go up. Yes, it's going to make these contracts look good for now. Yes, they are going to have cap space. Yes, some of these contracts are too long, but that was how it was designed. Lou did that on purpose. Lou now has most, if not all, of his contracts at an AAV totaling up between 80 and 83 million. Now, I got asked, I don't know why, Alex DeBrincat. Alex DeBrincat has been rumored to be on the Islanders' radar, and according to quite a few people, I think we're now down to Detroit and the Islanders. Excuse me for one moment. Okay. Here's the thing. I give full marks to Andrew Gross because he was the first one that I saw that on. Folks, when it comes to rumors like that and I see Andrew Gross posting something, I believe that. That one's on Andrew. So I was a little excited for Alex DeBrincat, and people have asked me, how do you fit Alex DeBrincat into the cap? Yes, the Sens are taking him to arbitration. Yes, they are. Here's my opinion on it. And again, this goes back to the budget that I was telling you guys about. I think if you're going to lower Alex DeBrincat's long-term contract, less than $8 million, you have to give him one hell of a signing bonus. Okay? No, it's not even that, Matthew. See, this is what you guys have got to realize. Stop looking at the $9 million deal here. Okay? It doesn't have to be just Pajot. It could be anybody else or Dobson. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay? If the Islanders can agree on a contract with DeBrincat and they can match up the cap correctly, depending on the signing bonus that DeBrincat gets, you can lower his cap hit. I didn't figure that out, but it would work in Lou's system if you can stay within this budget. Now, again, until I'm blue in the face, until I'm blue in this shirt, way back when, there were only 3 players that, other teams were interested in. Noah Dobson, Ilya Sorokin, and Oliver Wahlstrom. Okay? Right now, Oliver Wahlstrom could be that odd man out. I'm not saying that's true or anything else. And by the way, I have no sources on this one. I can't confirm or deny anything. I've got nothing on this one. I'm letting Andrew Gross break this one himself. This one's on him. That's how I feel on that one. If you were to give DeBrincat a massive signing bonus, you can lower his AAV. Done deal. That's done. So you can trade him in his contract this year. You can sign him to whatever contract you want. As long as the signing bonus is huge, go for it. Yeah, again, Andrew doesn't leak stuff, though. Andrew doesn't leak stuff. He doesn't. I think that was on purpose. But again, I don't know. So, again, I don't think Lou wants to trade Noah Dobson. We certainly know Ilya Sorokin's not getting traded. I don't know if Oliver Wahlstrom and Pajot is going to be enough to get DeBrincat. Even if you were to knock out $5 million on his contract, again, this is where Scott Malkin comes into play. I think that would be one heck of a signing bonus to get that AAV down. I don't think Lou would be the only one involved in that trade. I think Scott Malkin would be, because that would have to fork over quite a bit of money. Yes, we know he's a 40-goal scorer. And understandably so. We have not had a 40-goal scorer, I think, since Ziggy or Jason Blake. I think Jason Blake had a 40-goal season. Did he not? Just off the top of my head? So I don't know if Jason Blake racked up 40. So my thoughts on DeBrincat, again, I don't think so. It's nice. Nothing would shock me if they were trying to drive up the price for Detroit, but I'm telling you right now, Stevie Y, he's going to hold on to his deal, and the Sens are going to be like, take it or leave it. And it'll be up to DeBrincat, but really, I think DeBrincat should stay in Ottawa. I think DeBrincat should stay in Ottawa, get Ottawa as close to the playoffs as possible, or get them in the playoffs, show he's worth that money again, and rack up as much as you can, kid. Absolutely. I think he should stay with the Sens for one more time. One more year, go for it, and then make as much money as you can. Did Lee have a 40-goal season? I think you're right, Matt. Yes, he did. Thank you, boys. Yeah. Again, I was just, yeah. What did Ziggy do? Maybe it was a 50-goal season. Was it Ziggy who had a 50-goal season? Maybe 50. Yeah. Maybe that was it. The last 50-goal scorer was Ziggy. So, yeah. Shows you how much I know on July 5th. Yeah, they could. So that's my thought on DeBrincat. Honestly, I think he should stay. Um, yeah, I think DeBrincat should stay in Ottawa. Do whatever he can to get that team in the playoffs. Be that really big team player. Score as many goals as you can. Maybe knock out one of those older teams out of the playoffs and make that money afterwards, kid. That's where I would go. If not, you know, good luck. I mean, good luck on the Islanders. So, real quick, thoughts on the NHL draft. I'm going to come back and have Shane Malloy on the show, and we're really going to dissect some of the draft picks. But I'm not going to lie here, boys and girls. There's nothing earth-shattering here. Let's get that out of the way. But I love the fact that Danny Nelson absolutely slipped into the 49th spot. He's along the same lines as Anton Wahlberg. He was just 50 years. Last 50 goal guy was Turgeon in 93. Really? Palfy never hit. Palfy hit 48. Ah, crap. All right, I was close. All right. Anyway, Danny Nelson, Anton Wahlberg, two different centers, but they were both 17 last season. They had a lot of good upside. What did I say? 50 years? Shut up. Anyway, Danny Nelson, I like him. He's going to University of Notre Dame. And folks, all you have to do is look at Brock Nelson. Even Brock Nelson early years, that's what you're getting. But for right now, I'm putting Danny Nelson as a third line center. That's where he is. Could he improve on that? Absolutely. Going to Notre Dame will certainly help that. And going into a better Bridgeport system will certainly get him to a higher level. I'm hoping he can peak at number 2 the way Brock is right now. But realistically, I have Danny Nelson as a very good third line center, but he is Brock Nelson. I always tell Brush to shut up. Everyone knows that on the show at this point. As far as Yessi Nurmi, look, the kid kind of reminds me of Sean Bergenheim. Finnish left winger. He comes up in clutch. He is more of a checker. He would probably be more of a checker in the NHL, but again, we'll see where he goes. Let me see. Justin Gill, he's my overager. I was kind of hoping that Matt Capone from Merrimack was going to get drafted by the Islanders, but again, the Islanders went with what I was hoping for, which was another overage centerman. In all honesty, Justin Gill, believe it or not, is trying to make it to Bridgeport this season. So he's got to have one heck of a camp. If he does make it out of Bridgeport, I'm going to be excited to watch him for a little while, but that's going to add a little bit to it. Let me see here. Zach Schultz, Team USA guy, University of Wisconsin. He's actually going to be going and playing with Quinn Finley, who was the 2022 third-round pick of the Isles. So they've already hooked up. They've got their connections together. They've been talking. So I'm looking forward to seeing what both of those players can do at the University of Wisconsin. And last but not least, Dennis Goodbog. Look, I love that name. I hope he makes it at least to Bridgeport. I would buy that jersey even in Bridgeport. Absolutely. But in all honesty, guys, he's an overage left-handed defenseman. He's been good in juniors at the age that he's been at. He's currently going to be playing at the Swedish Hockey League Tier 2 League, which is fine. That's a normal development. The goal for him this year is to play in the World Juniors again, obviously. But I would like to see him get some actual Swedish Hockey League games in, and that would be it for me. Other than that, boys and girls, I thought the draft was very good. It was nice and filling. I like the fact that they got another overager. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Bridgeport can do over the next couple of seasons, because I think when these prospects are finally done with their junior careers, they're going to come over to Bridgeport and be like, oh, we're not in juniors anymore. Well, this is a lot harder than we thought. So I'm hoping these prospects get a little more challenged in the future. So having said that, we're going to do a quick water cooler talk here. We're going to take your questions, comments, concerns. I'm going to say right here, Mark, any chance Julian Gauthier can still improve. Was highly touted first rounder a few years ago. Mark, I'm going to go a step further with that. Calder Cup champion with the Charlotte Checkers. This kid has done very well in the minor leagues. He's done everything at this point. The only thing he hasn't been able to do is put everything together and remember his first team, not Carolina. I'm sorry, his second team, the Rangers. That says it all. Okay, the Rangers just don't do anything well with their prospects. We've seen that lately. Can he still improve? I think so. If he can buy into the system and play the role that he's supposed to play, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna make those three kids that were signed for Bridgeport today. Yeah, they're not necessarily kids. These guys have been around the NHL for a little bit. As of right now, I'm just considering them depth signing. Gauthier could see some time up here as a recall. That's always a possibility. He could be a starter. Who knows? But for me, I just see it as a sign of depth. All three players. I think that was one of the Achilles' heel. There wasn't enough veteran depth to come up here to help with the Islanders. Granted, I'd love seeing Simon Holmstrom come up and play, but they needed more veterans on the Bridgeport team to help solidify that team get into the playoffs, and that didn't happen last year. Yeah, Tarasenko's situation is weird. Listen, I don't know if the Islanders are in on him. I don't think so. They got Bo Horvat in there. They're up to their cap. They're up now. Again, next move by Lou is going to be a hockey trade. So I don't see Tarasenko coming in. Do I think Ross the Boss will be on the NHL roster this year, or will they bury his salary in the Bridgeport? Good question, Brian. Well, listen, is Lou going to make another move? That's the question. There's enough depth in this organization, and whether you agree or not, I still think this team is better this coming October than what it was last October. So does Lou actually have to make a trade right now? No, he does not. He doesn't. He may bide his time a little bit. He may annoy the fan base quite a bit. I do think the Islanders, and again, if you've been watching the show, you guys know I'm very more of a get another defenseman who can score some points or another transitional game, improve the transitional game over a forward at the moment. Only because the numbers are there. Basically, when a defenseman scores 2 points or more in a game, and it can be the same defenseman, the Islanders don't lose. Like the win-loss ratio is almost 2-1. It's nasty when the defensemen get involved. I think that's the great mystery, John. Nope. Power play QB D-man. I think they do need that. Or someone else. Maybe it was Noah Dobson. Just confidence. I don't know. Samuel Bolduc starts in Bridgeport. No, he cannot. And that was my mistake. I don't know if I apologized the week before, but I screwed up with Bolduc. I originally had at the beginning of the season Samuel Bolduc. I envisioned him playing 40 games this year, coming up as a seventh defenseman, and I was hoping he was going to get the Noah Dobson treatment. And then, stupid me, I counted wrong because he was 20 years of age when he signed his entry-level contract. I thought it went 21, 22, 23. I was wrong. It's 20, 21, 22. So he is not waiver exempt. So he would have to clear waivers, which he won't do. He would get claimed by somebody. So I'm going to go back to my original premise of Bolduc starting as a seventh D-man, but getting in enough games to where he'll be ready by next season. I'm hoping they give him the Noah Dobson treatment, but I will tell you this right now, boys and girls. Samuel Bolduc, there's interest for him around the NHL. There's a ton of interest for Samuel Bolduc. Is he on the trade block? I hope not, but could he be part of a package? I could see that. That's just where we go. We're gonna get into it's still July 5th, boys and girls. I'm gonna go a little deeper into the teams and the divisions and predictions and whatnot a little later on. Let's enjoy the summer here a little bit. But if I had to go 1, 2, 3 right now, I'm probably gonna go Devils, Carolina, and the Islanders. The Rangers, to me, you sign Jonathan Quick. Blake Wheeler could be a good deal, but he's in the Metro Division. I think the Metro is much tighter than the Central right now. And yes, Wheeler is playing with his friend. Oh man, the memory blank here. Good Lord. Jacob Trouba. So yeah, he's back to playing with his old friend here in New York. I don't know how well he's going to do. If he does really well, I think the Rangers have a better shot. But in all honesty, it's the same story we had last year with the Rangers. The younger kids have got to produce. They have to. No, I don't think he's going to rot. I don't think he's going to rot in the press box. He does need the playing time. But in all honesty, 40 to 50 games this year, yes, that's fine. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Let him develop the confidence. That's all this is about. Consistency and confidence. He gets that going, we're good to go. Dobson, soft, play scared. I understand where you're coming from on that one, Brian. I almost want to say confused sometimes. It's almost like he's playing. When I mean confused, if you understand where I'm going with that, it's like the game got a little too quick on him because he didn't have a lot of backup this year. You know, again, he went from Andy Green to Zdeno Chara to Alexander Romanov. Okay, and Alexander Romanov needed Scott Mayfield to bail him out. So I think his anticipation needs to be better. And I think if he anticipates better and it lets the game come to him, I don't think we're going to see that scared part. I don't know about soft yet. I would really love to give him another year and we'll go from there. Yeah, I would love to see him figure it out. John McClain is our power play coach. That can't last, can it? You guys know NHL coaches usually don't last long with Lou. AHL coaches last longer. I'm going to go along with Lou on this one. I think Lou is still trying to figure out what happened, and he'll make the appropriate moves from there. Again, another trade could solve that issue, but we'll go from there. We're not talking about the draft anymore. Oh, this was water cooler talk. Oops. No, wait. Yeah, water cooler talk. There we go. So, any other questions, comments, concerns? So listen, boys and girls, I hope this figured out. I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of this segment. I wanted to give you guys a little bit more of an understanding. I think the Islanders are on their own personal budget of $80 to $83 million with their cap space, and it's kind of giving you an indication of what it's going to take. Like I said, all the other Islander personalities, I think they're correct. For the next 3 years, everyone's going to be right. What I'm going to be very interested in is this next collective bargaining agreement. Number one, are we going to get a season? That'll be number one. Number two, how long is that season going to be? And number three, will any of these longer contracts be bought out? That's it. I would still say Scott Mayfield would be bought out before anybody else. But if the Islanders make that decision to keep him afterwards and after having that opportunity, okay, that's another discussion we're not going to have for like another 3 or 4 years. And who knows if I'm going to be around for that. So listen, the contracts are not bad for now. The Islanders are on a budget. And if they want to, they can go over their budget as much as they want for any kind of player that they want each year to make a run at the Stanley Cup. I think Lou has done that very masterfully. I love what he's done so far, at least from a number standpoint. Um, yeah, no, I don't disagree with this, but I also need, Brian, I need this team to be healthy. Please give me a healthy Palmieri. Give me a healthy Pellick. Give me a healthy Barzell. Give me a healthy Wallstrom. Get these guys healthy. If these guys are healthy, I think the scoring is going to be there. I really do. And for those of you wanting the power play, who wanted the power play? Was that I know you guys have the power play as a concern. Listen, go on Stefan Rosner's piece. He just came out with a piece with both Barzell and Horvat together on the power play. They're nasty. They're nasty. And again, if you follow Isles talk, the defensemen, when they get involved in the offense, they're nasty. The team is basically on a 2-to-1 ratio, wins and losses. John Collins, the ownership group, what does he bring? You know what? John is going to be the middleman. John Malkin has his thing right now. He's got a hotel to build. He's got honestly, I apologize, Islander fans. I know he's building like a little community of stores over there, a big recreational place or whatever. And we know Belmont's going to get a little facelift as well. A lot of stuff are going on there. So I like the idea that John Collins is joining the ownership group, and he probably is going to be the one in charge of, the Islanders when it comes to other major decisions. Now, again, the Brinket, that might go to Scott Malkin, but again, I wouldn't be shocked if John Collins got involved in that. But Malkin has things to build right now. That doesn't affect anything that Lou does. I think Lou's going to do his Lou thing, but it gives a little more credence. It gives a little more credentials here for the New York Islanders when you get someone like John Collins into the ownership, because he's one of the good ones. Matthew, were you even here for the beginning part of this section of the show? 4 extra years on Engvall and Mayfield, or 2 extra years on volley. What other GM would do that? Watch the beginning of the show. I explained everything. You may not even see those extra years. All depends. You got to give that particular group 3 years. 3 years. It's all you got to worry about. The next 3 years. Do I feel Sorokin would have left if Varley didn't sign? I'm not going to lie. I would have had my doubts. I would have had my doubts had Sorokin stayed. I know he loves it here, but let's face it. I've been saying it. Joe's been saying it. Gary's been saying it. You need it. Varlamov got Sorokin here in the first place. No matter what anyone else is going to tell you. Okay? You bring in Varlamov, you brought in Sorokin. You keep Varlamov here, you're going to keep Sorokin. So, yes, I think Varley has a big thing to do with it. Do I think Sorokin would have signed somewhere else? Maybe. One thing I do know, Varley was a big influence for Sorokin coming here. Lou was another one. Okay? So, Lou did his homework on getting Sorokin here, without question. Which one are we talking about here? Might still be hard to move even with that cost certainty. What are we talking about? What do we do with Lee? You know what you do with Lee? Keep him where he is for now until you find a better deal. I would love to see Lee, Horvat, and Barzell go nuts. There's a part of me that would like to see Lee kind of play that Matt Molson role, where you had Tavares and Oposo go nuts on each other. They're scoring left and right. And there's that savvy veteran Matt Molson coming in and scoring those garbage goals. I think Anders Lee can do that. I think Anders Lee could be an excellent version of Matt Molson right now. And Matt Molson can, not Matt Molson, Anders Lee can still deflect those pucks in. Anders Lee can be still very useful for the rest of his contract, even if he's a third liner. And it's like everyone has said before, the cap's going up, boys and girls. The cap's going up. There's going to be some financial space for the Islanders to make room for the next 3 years. Honestly, everyone worried about the contracts, don't worry about it. Worry about the next 3 years. I'm not saying those are going to be a window of opportunity for the Islanders for a Stanley Cup run. I'm saying from a financial standpoint, from a business standpoint, it's only about the next 3 years. Because after that, you guys are going to be the top three organization in the league once everything is built. And I think that's where we're at. Yeah, Matt, do yourself a favor. Watch the beginning of the show when this is all over. Yeah, I explained everything, and it was one of those aha moments. So, yeah, Lee, I'm all right with. Let Lee finish him. Let Lee finish his contract off. He should have a better time than what happened to Josh Bailey. So, I'm going to leave this right here. I know some of you are very harsh on Josh Bailey. Some of you love Josh Bailey. Listen, love him or hate him. Right now, if he were to retire right now, he finishes seventh in points scored in that 2008 draft. Alex Pietrangelo might catch up to him, and Josh Bailey still finishes in 8th. Derek Stepan is a very distant 9th. And I don't think there's anybody else who's going to catch Josh Bailey for number 8 in that 2008 ranking. Okay? For those of you who bash Josh Bailey, you're the ones that wanted Nikita Filatov in that 2008 draft. You wanted that high-scoring right winger. Nikita Filatov didn't even last. Done. Okay, Josh Bailey represented what was wrong with Long Island politics. Okay? Josh Bailey was brought up early to sell tickets. Josh Bailey was brought up because he was younger, he was faster, and the Islanders were in a rebuild because Nassau County did not allow Nassau Coliseum to be rebuilt. And that goes back all the way to 1981, 82. The Islanders had to do what they did with Josh Bailey. It's not Josh Bailey's fault. Josh Bailey is a true Islander. He's going to be in the Islanders Hall of Fame. He's had to tolerate a lot of crap. And he stuck with it this entire time. Okay? Look, I said this before, guys. If Lou Lamoriello can trade Andrew Ladd, you can trade Josh Bailey. This wasn't hard. Love him or hate him, Josh Bailey is going to be an Islander Hall of Fame. It is the absolute least this organization can do for Josh Bailey. And when I hope he plays another season. And if he does, I hope he returns to UBS Arena. They better play that goal song one way or another as a last hurrah. If Josh Bailey scores against the Islanders, that goal song better come on. That better be one hell of a tribute because of the amount of crap that man has been put through. Not just from an organizational standpoint, but from an Isles fan standpoint. He is who he is. He was who he was. Okay? He was a subpar player? Sure. Did the Islanders rush him? Absolutely. Is that his fault? Absolutely not. You give Charles Wang his lighthouse project, You let Josh Bailey develop the way he was supposed to develop. Okay, you may have gotten a full top 6, top 3 forward. And he goes down in Islanders history, maybe gets you a Stanley Cup. Who knows? Josh Bailey represented what was wrong with the development of those players and even up to today. And that was what's wrong with Long Island politics. Because you couldn't get the Islanders a home, a proper home, fixed up or any other place. Josh Bailey belongs in the Islanders Hall of Fame, and that's the very least they can do for him. And it's agreeable. Yes, he was the whipping boy for too long. No, and I agree. And believe me, Lou Lamoriello had that talk with Josh Bailey, and I'm sure it was very professional. People took their problems out on Josh Bailey instead of, looking at where they lived. Sorry, Nassau County. Nassau County Islander fans. More specific. Rush Bailey, Rush Beauvillier. Where's that one? Folks, you want me to tell you who they rushed? You want me to do a show on who they rushed? Let me tell you. I will have a field day with this one. It just wasn't those two. It was a lot more. But they did it because they had to sell tickets. Because if they didn't, there was always that threat of moving. And Josh Bailey went through all of that. Absolutely. It's a standing ovation. Thank you for putting up with all of our crap, literally and figuratively. There's another one. And again, it's not on Gar Snow all the time. Not all on Charles Wang either. I've said this before. Charles Wang was never an owner of Nassau Coliseum. He was a tenant, and there's a difference. Nope, this is not, Matt, I'll tell you right now, it's not just Kate Murray. It's not Kate Murray. Boys and girls, we'll do this. You know what? I will do the history about this if we have to. I don't, too much of a downer. But I can tell you right now, Pickett was looking for an improvement to the arena back in 1982. 1982. We're talking 40 years of this. 40 years, and Josh Bailey had to go through with this crap for 15 of it. 15. Josh Bailey, Hall of Famer, one of the top 7, 8 prospects in that 2008 draft. When you get there, salute him, thank him for everything. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for me. I hope you guys found this to be a little more educational. Again, don't worry about the length of the contracts. Worry about the next 3 years. The next 3 years are good. And, your future looks bright, at least from a business standpoint. I'm going to be here a little bit during the summertime. Like I said, I'd like to have Shane Malloy on here again. We're going to go over the drafts in a deeper part. And listen, you guys, this is your show. What do you want me to talk about? Brian. That's the comment of the night. That's the comment of the night. Listen, you guys, if you want me to do a show in anything in particular, let me know. We'll do it. Oh, listen, here's another one for you guys. I believe it's next week. Next Wednesday, we've got Jiggs McDonald coming on. The 12th. Jiggs McDonald is going to be on this show next week. We're going to promote it probably Sunday or Monday. But Jigs is coming on. He's going to join myself, Gary, and Joe. And yeah, Jigs is going to come on, and we're going to go over the 50 years of Islander history here because we didn't get to do it during the regular season. I changed it up because I wanted to do this during the summer. It gives us a little more time to talk, just reminisce. So bring your favorite drinks, whatever. We've got Jigs coming up to next Wednesday, to my knowledge. And yeah, it'll be a good time. So, let everyone know. And yeah, Mark, we'll talk about this. I know, I'm getting there. I know, I'm getting there with you. That'll be another topic. That'll be another topic in another 2 months. We'll go from there, I promise. But yeah, Jigs McDonald next week with Gary, Joe, and myself. So for those of you who are new to the show, thank you for coming on. You can follow us on Isles Talk on Twitter at Isles Talk. You can also like and follow us on Facebook. And please, please, please spread the word. We're on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be doing some smaller videos over the summertime just with my own personal thoughts. So again, everyone, thank you for coming on. Hopefully I bridged that gap for you guys. Collective bargaining agreement in 4 years. Watch out for that. Only concern yourselves with the next 3 years, okay? And we'll get into more depth about this upcoming season a little later on in the summer. For now, happy 4th of July, everybody. Happy Canada Day for all of you up in Canada. Enjoy your summer. We'll be back next week with Jigs McDonald. So let's go Islanders, and we'll see you next week.